Okay, hello everyone. In this video I will explain flight plan and how I set up my flight plan and some considerations that you should make when creating a flight plan. So we will go back to the main screen, which you will see when you try to set up flight plan. The drone is not connected. You don't necessarily need the drone to be connected, but I would advise having an internet connection. This is because you would need um, an internet connection to download the map. Oh God. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is go to the top where new is, and those are all my saved maps, but if this is your first time you probably wouldn't have a map. So bottom left hand side, tap on new, and select your drone, BEBOP or BEBOP 2. I use the BEBOP 2. So that's my new setting. Sorry, my new map. So I will find a place to go and fly. I don't know where this is on the map, but it is somewhere on the earth. I will find a place to go and fly. And it may take some time to load the map because I'm tethering the on-screen capture from the iPad, plus trying to get internet to it. Okay, we've got some interesting landscapes here. Alright, let's see that. Now that we've got our map loaded, well, it is trying to load. Come on, you can do it. Oops, I just tapped on the screen. Okay, if you've created a point, on the bottom right hand side you can see the arrow facing back. That means to go back. So when you tap that, it will erase that. This is really a bad example. I should be looking for something a little more realistic, because no one's going to go to where this is. Okay, we'll just do this. Alright, I found a nice little pond lake, iced up lake somewhere on the map. Okay, first thing you need to do is gauge your surroundings, so do a visual inspection, note infrastructure in the area, buildings, trees, and sort of overestimate the height. That is your first consideration, which is the site inspection. Then what you're going to do is plot your takeoff point. Your start point. Your start point isn't your takeoff point, so be very cautious. When you set your start point, before you initiate the flight, you will get to your drone's GPS on your map, and you need to cross-reference the drone's actual location on the map to your start point of your flight plan. Because as soon as you tap on play, the drone will ascend. It won't go up. Let me just make an example. I have my hard drives here. Okay, so this is, say for example, this is my drone, and this is my start point and altitude. When I hit play, it won't ascend straight up and then go to my start point. It will go from where it's taken off and then fly a straight line to the drone, instead of going up then to the start point. It will take off and fly heading, drawing a line from its takeoff point to the start point. So if your start point is at 50 and you have a tree in between that's 20, it would probably cross the tree on its way up. So always try and place your drone underneath the start point before you hit play, because that way it'll just take off and it'll be at the start point and start its route. Okay, that is that consideration to starting. And always check your start point, because if your start point is at your previous location where you flew, it might be miles away, and as soon as you hit the play button to start the flight plan, it will fly directly to that location, which would be miles away, and you are going to lose your drone. So make sure to check when you switch on the drone before your flight plan to place your drone as close as possible to your starting point. Okay, as you can see, I've created a few points. So basically you just tap on the map where you want to plot your next point. If you'd like to go back and you've made a mistake, the bottom right hand side has that backward looking arrow, which means back. Or if you want to put that link again because you made a mistake thinking you want to delete it and you want to undelete it, then you have the other arrow going forward, which would put that back. That's what that does. Now to set your to complete your course, I'll just do a circle around this. So I'm going to mark a circle and I'll try to bring it back as close as possible to my my start point. Okay, so to move the points around, because I know you can't tap on top of each other, you just hold down the dot, the point, and you can drag it around to move it to get a more finer plot on the map. So you can drag it right about your takeoff point. So your takeoff point and your ending point, I would like to keep it at the same altitude, so it sort of goes at the same altitude and comes back and hovers at the same altitude. So that is something else to consider. Now once you set your plot your course for the drone to fly, you can now set your altitude. After your visual inspection of the area, you would know which areas are the high areas and which are the low, where you can go up and down if you need to, or you could just fly an altitude. So to adjust your altitude, you tap on any of the points and use the slide on the right. It has a maximum of 150, which is the software preset. So you can adjust your heights for each individual areas. I really want to go here and see everything. So just an example, I'm just going to set heights for everything. Okay, now that I've set my heights, I won't set my height for the last point because I want my last point to come back and be at 3 meters, which is the same altitude it took off from. So if you need to go higher than 150, say for example you want to go up a mountain or sort of the side of a canyon and you're taking off from the bottom and its elevation is higher than 150, you can do so by holding down on the point. Pardon, let me do it on 150. Hold down on the point and it will come up, you'll see that altitude. So what you do is tap on altitude and you can put in your own altitude. If geofence is switched off, it will be able to climb to that altitude. Please, as a reminder, follow your local regulations. So if it's 150 AGL, you should be okay if you're ascending with the altitude. But if you're trying to surpass your maximum AGL altitude in your local area, I highly wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so that is how you set your altitudes. Now you can set your speed. To set your speed, you can zoom in a bit. To set your speed, you see the lines that are joining the dots. You can tap on the line and that denotes your speed. And on the slider to the right, you can decrease your speed or increase it however you wish. So that is setting your speed between each point. The next thing I would like to touch on, so that is basically plotting a course. This is a basic course. To further enhance your sort of video capabilities with the drone, you can create point of interests. So to create a point of interest, you hold your finger down on the map over your point of interest and you'll get this notification. You can close that or create a point of interest. So I'll tap on point of interest and that creates my first point of interest. To assign which areas on the course I want the drone to look at that point, all I have to do is tap on the point and then tap on tap on the point of interest and then tap on any of the plotted courses that the drone is flying, and it will automatically face the point of interest example. I'll tap on this one and it's looking at the point of interest. Tap on that one, it's looking at the point of interest. So I can move my point of interest around just by dragging it across the map, and all the points that are assigned to that point of interest will also move respective to your point of interest. Now if I have a second item that I want as a point of interest, you do the same thing. To deselect the point of interest, just tap the point of interest again and it will deselect all your waypoints. So creating a second point of interest, I tap and hold on the map and point of interest. Now it's created a second point of interest and highlighted it. So I'm going to select my new points after that to look at that point of interest. I'm probably going to move it here, deselect it, and that is that. Oh, apologies. Why are you doing that? Okay, I'm going to move that somewhere here. There we go. So that you can set as many point of interest as you want and as many points, as many waypoints as you want for the drone to fly. So that is how you create your point of interest using your waypoints. So on the point of interest, what you can do, because the camera will be turning and facing the general direction of the point of interest, it will be looking straight if you don't set an altitude. So the numbers on the point of interest, you can see that we've set 3. Pardon. Go back. You can see that we've set 3. That 3 means the altitude. So to adjust your, like say for example, if the point of interest is a tall building, then you tap on the point of interest and the slider, the altitude slider would open on the side. This is not the altitude of your flying. This is the altitude of a point of interest. So say my building is 10 meters tall. I'm going to put 10 meters at my point of interest. This will tell the drone which angle to face the camera when it does the point of interest flight. So the side plotted course turns your camera facing a point of interest as it flies, and setting your altitude at the point of interest controls the tilt of the camera as it flies, so which angle it's going to be looking at. So that is the angle and the flight of the point of interest. Now, to further improve the video, with the points from each point that the drone is traveling, when it hits a new waypoint and it turns, the video may be quite rapid, where the video just follows the heading of the drone. So to mitigate this, there's an option on the top right hand side. You can see the 2 lines which I've tapped on. There's something called automatic progressive course. If it's switched off, the video feed from the drone will turn rapidly as the drone turns, but with automatic progressive course turned on, the software would automatically smooth the turn. So that is what progressive course does. It actually adjusts your course, so in turn the result would be a smoother sort of turning of the drone. I always disable the landing on last way, which means at the last waypoint it won't land, it will just come in and hover, because I like to control my landings. Even if your controller does not connect or the controller dies, it will just hover until your battery reaches critical and do an automatic landing. So it's really important that you take off from an empty space, where if the drone comes back and hovers, it's a clear area for it to do an unassisted landing, where it just lands by itself when the battery reaches 2%. So those are the extra options you have there. Now, once you have created your flight plan and your point of interest, you can check the flight data or the estimated duration of the flight, and that is on the right hand side, top right hand side, you have a little note with a plus. You can tap on that, and this will open up the timeline of your flight plan. So in this short flight plan that I've created, it has 4 minutes and 54 seconds, which is within capabilities of the drone. Some people like to stretch it, but I like to sort of keep it between 15 to 10 minutes, just in case there's a lot of winds and I need to compensate for the return power, or if the battery sort of has a problem and dies from 30% more rapidly, the drone is going to have sufficient power to come back. On the top, you've got video, photo, pause, 360, and camera tilt. I don't like to use the camera tilt or the 360 because I do this using the point of interest. Because sometimes you may adjust your camera tilt thinking that you have it all planned out in your head and it's going to work exactly as it is from there, but you've never been at that altitude to know what angle. So using point of interest and plotting your point of interest exactly on that area that you want focused in, the software does all the calculations for you and is, in my case, every time accurate. But if you set your tilt angle by yourself, then this is where you may have errors, and then your drone's going to come back and you don't like the video because it's whatever you wanted to see is out of the frame. So that is why I like to use point of interest. It's a lot better than guesstimating what I wanted to look at. That is that. So if I wanted to change red, the buttons on the top, you can see red is for video. So my timeline is all video. But if I wanted to have a photo taken, I can tap on photo on the top and select raw. Set my interval. I think raw is set to 8 seconds interval as a minimum. So 8 seconds, and I can drag it down to any of the areas where I wanted to take pictures. It can only do it between points, like point A to point B or point C to point D. If you need it in other sections, you can drag it down to other sections as well. Or if you set your camera angles manually, just drag it down to each of the seconds. So that's how that works. You set your parameters to the icons on the top, then you drag the icons to whatever section of the flight that you want it to be doing those things. If you have overshot your time, you can go back to the map and either adjust your flight speed on the waypoints to increase the flight speed, which would shorten the duration, but increasing your flight speed over a certain, actually it's over 26 kilometers an hour. 26 kilometers an hour is the optimal flight speed for best efficiency for the BEBOP 2. If you do it too fast, it would have a shorter time, but it would have a faster battery drain. So just sort of estimate what you want to do. Either you speed up the drone and risk having the battery finished, or you have a constant travel speed, but shorten your travel distance. So in that case, I'm going to move my points inwards just to bring them in and shorten them out, sort of tighten up the gap. And we'll see what this has done. Okay, 435. So that's good enough for me, and that is how I create my flight plan. So when I'm ready to go, I will fire up my drone, do my pre-flight checks, check the propellers, make sure the battery was charged the day before. Don't charge it a week or 2 weeks before and expect to go and fly and everything's going to be good. It might work, but in most cases it's going to have problems. So propellers, do the pull test to make sure that the seat clip is locked in. spin the propellers, make sure all of them have the same resistance. If any of them are more resistant than the others, I would advise against making that flight until you rectify the problem with that motor. And weather, KP index can highly affect your flight in automated flying, because that would affect the compass and gyro. So that is it. The other pre-flight checklists, I mean, just use your basic common sense. But that is it for now with flight plan. I hope you've got some understanding out of this video. If it didn't help you, too bad. Until next time, fly safe and God bless.